actual brands that are only sold online, for instance, or are they kind of indifferent to the Amazon trend?
It's easier for a company like Pure Fishing to go through a big box or a wholesaler, individual stores, for them to be able to sell, FBA Amazon, unless they take 2 or 3 products and they make exclusives for Amazon, which I know that many of those companies do. They do it, number one, because they don't have to ship it. They just send a whole bunch to Amazon. Amazon buys them and sells them. And number two, they don't have the infrastructure a lot of times to do drop ship type directly to a customer. It's a lot more expensive to do it that way. And it, having exclusives that are sold just on Amazon also helps protect their partnerships that they have with some of the big box stores. So customers can't walk in and compare apple to apple items, right? And, during our top-to-top meetings with different manufacturers, vendors, that was always something that came up, because we didn't want to buy anything that they were going to, excuse my term here, it's a term that's used in the industry a bit, but, hoard out on Amazon to where, because they're not going to follow all your map pricing, and, they just don't. They really don't care that much. So we were very careful on signing agreements that, we either had exclusives that were just for us, or we made sure that they weren't going to be able to be sold on Amazon directly from a manufacturer.
And I think we've touched on this a little bit in terms of. Sorry, does someone have a question? Okay.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Excuse me. So we've touched on this a little bit in terms of brand loyalty, but one thing that we've been reading about in the industry is the importance of technology, and the manufacturers, of course, are inclined to insist that their products are differentiated on the basis of their technology versus simply the power of their brand. So it'd be helpful to get your perspective, really as a customer, of how true that is.
I think it's absolutely true. And, I think 10 years ago, it was more about, brand and trust and relationship with brand than it is today. And today it's more driven with technology. My carrot stick example, and I'll just give you an example with technology. So if you walk into a fishing store, Bass Pro, and you have somebody hold, the handle rod at one end, and then put the other end, the eyelet, the tip at your throat, and you talk, the sensitivity of your voice waves, the person holding the handle, they can feel that. I mean, that's the sensitivity level that's built into these fishing rods today. And, it's how the fiberglass is wound together. And then when a fish strikes on that, when the pole bends, the pole actually gets stronger as the bend happens, right? The way that they've got everything, woven together. So cheaper fishing poles don't have the sensitivity, and they don't have the break strength of technology that's built into fishing poles. So I know myself, I'm more about technology and performance than I am about just buying a brand.
Okay, that makes sense. And then comparing brands, is the premium brand for Pure Fishing going to be comparable to the premium brand at Daiwa? Or is there real
I think so.
there?
No, I think so. I mean, I think top end brand. I think they're fairly close with the technology that's built in. Yeah, I think they're fairly close. People have a preference, so the way that they're designed, the way that they fit in their hand, where their finger trigger is for the release button. So part of it's comfort, but from a technology perspective with how they're made, I think the top ends are pretty comparable now. And then from there, it just really goes to price.
Got it. Matt and Jordan, I think that is pretty much all I had. I don't know if you guys have any other questions.